Get ready for The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's dedicated update show. Events, businesses, and people. Anything and anyone causing a ripple in the community. And now, let's dive in to The Splash Live.
Hello and welcome back to The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. Your stories from your hometown on your community media outlets, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Dayan Chaaban. We thank you for joining us today, as always, on Comcast Channel 15 and on AT&T Channel 99. You can also join us online every single day live in high definition on CivicCenterTV.com. Click on our Watch Live link at the top of your page or simply unmute that small player on the right side as you explore some of our most recent and interesting programs and look through our program calendar to find out when all your other favorite Civic Center TV shows are airing every single day. In addition, you can find us on Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, as well as on YouTube at Civic Center TV. Also, as you're driving throughout the community today and every day, you can tune in to your favorite Civic Center TV programming live simulcast on 89.3 Lakes FM. Diana, very warm and very sunny start to the week on Monday. Going to be more of the same today, and then things start to change later on in the week as the colder weather comes in, so does the rain.
That is true, Tyler. We have a very beautiful couple days coming ahead. For today, we're going to expect highs of 83 degrees, and temperatures will drop down low to 60 degrees, but very clear and beautiful and sunny day today. Similar warm temperatures on Wednesday with highs of 83 as well and lows of 64, but some clouds are going to be in the skies. It's still going to be pretty warm Wednesday. As you go into Thursday, temperatures are going to change a lot. It looks like fall is going to pass by on Thursday. We're going to expect high temperatures to drop down low to 69 degrees and continue to drop through the evening to 56 degrees. Some showers are expected during the day and the evening, Tyler.
Yet those showers are expected to start about 8 a.m. and run through the middle of the afternoon, and then it'll be light rain throughout much of the evening before those clouds depart, and it becomes a little bit cloudier with a little bit of precipitation early on Friday as well. We'll keep you updated on the weather reports all throughout the week. Plenty of interesting stories making headlines today throughout the Greater West Bloomfield community. Right next door to us at Civic Center TV at Chico Elementary School, one of their students was recently featured in the latest edition of People magazine. We'll tell you why, and we'll tell you how you can read that edition coming up in just a little bit. The West Bloomfield School District is reminding parents and students alike this week that Count Day is coming up very soon. We'll tell you when Count Day is and why that's important to the school district on today's edition of the program. At West Bloomfield High School, a student photographer has won a local photo contest for capturing the images at the West Bloomfield High School girls basketball state championship matchup earlier on this year against Rockford High School. We'll tell you about that special honor coming up. Plus, a familiar face being welcomed to the Orchard Lake Police Department from our local area. We'll tell you who that is and where you may have seen this man before in our local community. The West Bloomfield Fire Department is, of course, celebrating 100 years of service to our community. They just did over the weekend with their annual open house, but continuing to post some pictures, taking a trip down memory lane. Today, those pictures all about the equipment that they've used to protect themselves and protect our community over these last 100 years. Later on in the program, Brad Cousens will join us from Live Bait and Goomah, two new restaurants under one roof in Sylvan Lake. We'll tell you about that really interesting story of how these two restaurants came together, as well as all the good food you can experience on Orchard Lake Road at these two new restaurants. Fall is here, and so is hayride season, how you can enjoy those hayrides with West Bloomfield Parks. We'll give you all the details that you need to know coming up. Sylvan Lake Game Night is returning this week at the Sylvan Lake Community Center. We'll give you the details on some of the games you can play there and other special game night events coming up later on in the month of October. Plenty more of your stories from your hometown on your community media outlets coming up in just a little bit. The Splash Live continues next.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Follow us on Twitter at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
Take a break and tune in to the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Join Tyler Kieft and Dayan Chaaban as they go through headlines, events, and update you on the day-to-day in Oakland County. Catch us live Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Watch us on demand at civiccentertv.com. Or watch us on TV at Comcast Channel 15 or AT&T at Channel 99. Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on civiccentertv.com. Find when your meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at civiccentertv.com and click schedule at the top of the screen. And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. Your stories from your hometown on your community media outlets, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Dayan Chaaban. Our top story today, really cool, from Chico Elementary School, right next door to us at our studio broadcast center at Green Media Center in West Bloomfield. Mariah Galloway is a student at Chico Elementary School, featured in this most recent edition, the October 2nd edition of People magazine, in an article called "In Life or Death Situations, Kids Are Proving Superheroes Come in All Ages, Looking Out for Each Other." She was recognized for her heroic action over the summer, saving her 80-year-old grandmother. Earlier on this year, her grandmother was dropping her off at school, and as she was getting out of the car to see Mariah off to school that day, she had accidentally put the car in reverse instead of back into park. As she was getting out of the car. Then, as a result, the car started to idle backwards and actually rolled over her foot and had her stuck under with her foot under the front left wheel of the vehicle. Mariah took quick action, jumped into the front seat, and pulled the keys out of the ignition. That triggered the car to automatically shut down as the keys were no longer in operation, and that stopped any further damage from being done in that harrowing event. Her grandmother was in the hospital for several weeks as a result of injuries, but could have been a lot worse, and a lot more could have happened had that vehicle continued to roll in that parking lot that day. Mariah took quick action and hopes to continue to be saving lives for many years to come when she eventually graduates from the West Bloomfield School District and moves on, hopefully, to become a doctor. That is what she hopes to do with her career. And Dayan, off to a great start, saving lives right here in her hometown.
That is true. It is incredible. I find it incredible that a child her age thinks so swiftly in such a situation, and just her making this decision to jump into the front seat and take this key out of the ignition is just magnificent for a child her age. I'm not gonna lie, Tyler. It is something. It shows how quick of a thinker she is, how smart she is, and I'm sure she'll make a great doctor. Not only because she's a quick thinker and smart girl apparently, but also she did enjoy saving that life, and I'm sure she will enjoy saving lives in her future as well.
Yeah, she did something great here. She was recognized earlier on this year by the West Bloomfield Township Board for her heroic action, was recognized at one of their board meetings, and now being recognized at the national level as one of the many kids that was featured in this article all about taking action in life or death situations from People magazine. Mariah making her hometown in West Bloomfield very proud today. The West Bloomfield School District is reminding parents and students that tomorrow is count day, Wednesday, October 4th. If there's any day you don't want to miss school or have your kids out of school, it is that day. It has a big impact on school funding going forward on a year in and year out basis. So if you don't have to miss school, or at least not miss the beginning of the day when attendance is being taken, tomorrow is the best day to really make sure everybody is in school and in school on time, because it's not just getting a population number for the school. Those numbers then go to the state of Michigan. They are legally required to have multiple count days every year so that the state of Michigan can keep track of how many kids are in each school and in each school district, and that determines funding for our district as a whole. That goes to student programs such as athletics and music and in-classroom resources, other extracurriculars that help to be funded by student enrollment in our classrooms. We know that's been an issue for schools in our local area for a number of years, with the West Bloomfield School District consolidating schools in recent years, continuing to plan going forward in their next bond to consolidate some schools because of lower enrollment. We've seen that also in the Bloomfield Hills School District, reshuffling their district and closing a couple of schools and combining schools because of enrollment issues, and to get back into that K through 5, 8 through 12 format throughout the school district. Count day plays a big role in that, especially keeping our schools open and keeping our classroom numbers low. Funding plays a huge role in that. So if you can get your kids to school on Wednesday, if you can go without having your kids out of school on Wednesday, and kids, if there's any day you don't want to, say, oh no, I'm feeling sick, it is on Wednesday, unless you actually are. And there's a really good reason not to be in school. Obviously, don't push forward to go to school on Wednesday just because it is count day. There will be other ones throughout the year that will help to make up for this, but these count days are vitally important to our local school district. So whether you're in the West Bloomfield School District or in others, keep an eye out for when your count days are, and make sure that your kids or students yourself, you get into the classroom on those days. At West Bloomfield High School, a student photographer getting some recognition on the local level recently for his snapshots of the moments at the West Bloomfield High School girls basketball championship game earlier on this year against Rockford High School, last season against Rockford High School. Ari Saperstein is probably someone you've seen at a lot of these athletic events. We know we see him every week on the football field, capturing the moments for the entire West Bloomfield High School football season. We see him all throughout the year at all these other athletic events and community events as well, both in a more voluntary capacity, taking the action in for his high school athletics, but also professionally throughout our area, snapping many people's headshots and other photography needs in our local area. He was recently recognized by Woodward Camera in their September photo contest. This picture you're seeing on your screen on CivicCenterTV.com from the West Bloomfield High School girls basketball finals was the award winner for September from Woodward Camera. They posted on their Facebook page to announce his victory in that month's contest, saying, quote, your keen eye for the perfect shot and your ability to capture the intensity of the moment left us in awe. You managed to freeze time and preserve the excitement of the game through your lens. That's certainly what he did, and this does really well capture the moment and capture the essence of that basketball game. That was a hard-fought basketball game from both of those teams. West Bloomfield played their hearts out and just lost in a heartbreaker to Rockford, a team that played incredibly physical basketball, as you can see in this picture, really loading up in the paint against West Bloomfield to prevent them from getting a rebound, and that played a big role in that game. This photo really does tell the story very well, and Dayan, congratulations to Ari on winning this contest. We've seen so many of his photos in the past, and he really does do a great job of telling stories through the image.
That is true, Tyler. I can see the details in that picture. He truly does have a keen eye for detail, as the recognition mentioned. It's also, Tyler, here's the thing. We always think that photography is just taking a camera and snapping a photo. There's so much into it. You must be super creative. You must understand the composition, the lighting, the timing, and taking the perfect snaps. As you can see in this picture, he indeed did take the perfect snap at the perfect time. I mean, this is what a true photographer is. And I'm sure that if he started off like that, he will continue to evolve and get better at it. We will definitely see him at not only a national level, but also international level. I hope he does get places, and I'm sure he will. He looks like an amazing photographer. So congratulations to Ari. And what a beautiful, incredible picture this is.
Yeah, and then just an inside story from that day, from that particular game. I was under that hoop at that game as Dave Scott and I were on site to do some reporting from the championship weekend, both for the semifinal and then for that final. And that photo in particular, Calvin, if we can put that back up, it not only captured a moment that really encapsulates the story of that particular ball game, but it has all the key players in there as well. You see in the 23 and the 33 for Rockford, which is the team in orange. Those are both of the Y-Pitch sisters, two sisters, not twins, but sisters on the Rockford team that played huge roles in their eventual championship victory against the defending champion West Bloomfield Lakers, who are headlined in many ways by their own set of sisters, in this case twins, Summer and India Davis, who are also featured in the photos, both in the paint and on the left side of the screen as they go up for the board in that particular championship game. So many layers to the story that maybe Woodward Camera didn't even know about that go into making this photo that much better. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. On the other side, a familiar face transitions from one local police department into Orchard Lake. Plus, we celebrate 100 years of the West Bloomfield Fire Department by taking a look back with them at some of the protective equipment that's helped our firefighters and helped save lives in our community over the past century. More of your stories from your hometown on your community media outlets continue next on the Splash Live.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. Missed one of our live broadcasts or one of your local municipal meetings? Check it out online at civiccentertv.com. Every meeting, show, and interview on demand. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
1 in 4 Michigan homes has high levels of radon, a naturally occurring radioactive gas known to cause lung cancer. It doesn't matter where you live or what type of home you have. You won't even know it's there unless you test. So don't wait. Testing is cheap and easy. And if there's a problem, it's simple to fix. Visit michigan.gov/radon to learn more.
We took action. Will you?
Watch West Bloomfield Lakers football all season long on 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV. Join Tyler Kieft and Matt live, in-depth, and exclusive coverage before, during, and after the big game. It's your local high school football team on the road and in your backyard on your home for West Bloomfield Laker football, Civic Center TV, and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. It's your stories from your hometown on your community media outlets, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. We also appreciate you joining us on our website on civiccentertv.com, where you can click on links to also watch us on our Facebook and our YouTube every single day at Civic Center TV 15 and Civic Center TV respectively. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Dayan Chaaban. Plenty more stories to get to from throughout our community today, including the end of an era in one police department and the beginning of a new one in one right down the road. A familiar face moving on to the Orchard Lake Police Department this week, welcoming in Officer David McNeely to their team. He is a familiar face after serving 28 years at the West Bloomfield Township Police Department with experience as a traffic investigator, a detective, a field training officer, and as you saw in that previous image, even a stint as co-host of West Bloomfield 911, the West Bloomfield Police public safety show on Civic Center TV over the years. Now moving on to the Orchard Lake Police Department, just down the road, but still going to be very helpful in our four communities. Here he is taking his first picture at the newly renovated offices of the Orchard Lake Police Department, and we'll get started there very soon. Congratulations to Officer McNeely on his new role and keeping right here with us in the Greater West Bloomfield community. So we may not have him right next door to us at the West Bloomfield Police Department, but he's still within our community and still will be a friendly face all throughout the local area for years to come. Congratulations on your new gig. The West Bloomfield Township Fire Department's been celebrating 100 years of service to our community. We celebrated with them over the weekend on Sunday at their annual open house. You can watch our entire coverage of that on Civic Center TV today, throughout the day and throughout the week, and find it on demand on CivicCenterTV.com right at this very moment. But the fire department still continuing to celebrate those 100 years and take a look back at some of the history of our department on Facebook. This time they in a recent post yesterday, they posted, quote, "Not only have our trucks changed, but our protective equipment has changed as well. We'd like to thank everyone who stopped by our open house yesterday and helped celebrate our 100-year anniversary." Here you see images of various different kinds of equipment that have been used in similar capacities and the upgrades of that equipment, particularly the protective equipment for our firefighters as they're fighting fires all throughout the greater West Bloomfield community and responding to emergencies. We're seeing a number of these different pictures, and they posted even more of these on their Facebook page, taking a look at some of the protective equipment over the years as we've seen that protective equipment evolve and become even more helpful to these officers, to these firefighters, as they go into these various different kinds of situations that they're trained for, and that equipment helping them in many ways to be more apt to go into the more dangerous situations because they have the right equipment to be able to withstand that and save even more lives in our community. So these pictures spanning over the many decades, the last 100 years of service to our community, and even a couple that were from the more modern times today over the last maybe 10 to 15 or even 20 years back into the past. You can find all these pictures on their Facebook page. Just search for the West Bloomfield Fire Department, and I'm sure they'll be posting even more of a look back at some of their history in the past and some of the more modern equipment like you're seeing on your screen right now on CivicCenterTV.com. Dayan, another great look back at their history. We know we've talked about previously the trucks and apparatus that they use to fight fires and how those have changed over 100 years. Now we're kind of seeing that from a more direct angle as we look at the protective equipment used by our firefighters every single day.
It's very, very interesting pictures, Tyler, that we just shared. I mean, how the West Bloomfield Fire Department has evolved, and even though with limited equipment they had back then, they were also striving to protect our community, and they still are, and they're still evolving, and they still want to get all these new equipments that help save our community even more, Tyler, that gives us more chances of survival, I guess, if we must say it, and if we might say it simply. So it is quite interesting to look at the history and where we come from, how they started off, and all these incredible people that set the stone to what we have now, right, Tyler? So this is such a great picture. We really are grateful to all these people. I know a lot of them are not with us today, but we are really grateful for starting it. And if it wasn't for them, the West Bloomfield Fire Department would not have become what it is right now. So we are grateful for all the people that literally put their lives on the line just to save our community members back in the day, and the ones that are continuing to do so today with the new equipment or without. I'm sure they will still continue to save our lives on a daily basis.
Yeah, and the fire department did a great job of recognizing those that have helped to build this department over the years, those that are still active within the fire department, those that have retired or moved on in life or are no longer with us as well from the past 100 years. At that ceremony, they did a special ceremony at their open house on Sunday. We have that entire ceremony for you in our full presentation from the open house on over the weekend, from the 100th anniversary of the West Bloomfield Township Fire Department. You can find that on demand right now on CivicCenterTV.com. So many good citizens out there learning about fire safety, getting themselves ready in the case of an emergency as we recognize Fire Prevention Week, but other good citizens also making news in our community, including at West Bloomfield High School. Dayan.
This time it is a West Bloomfield High School senior, Charlotte Drager. So the West Bloomfield High School congratulated Charlotte Drager for winning the DAR, or the Daughters of American Revolution's 2024 Good Citizen Award. Tyler, this award is given to young students who show their dependability, their leadership, and how their services. So I bet Charlotte did do a lot of services in her school. I'm sure she did. They did not provide a lot of information on that post, but it's congratulations to Charlotte. I'm sorry, I keep on calling Tyler, but congratulations to Charlotte Jagger on this amazing award. Charlotte also, the good news is that she will be able to compete for an opportunity for scholarships. So the DAR does provide scholarships. So we all hope, fingers crossed, that she wins that scholarship because she's truly deserving of it, and she's one of ours. You go, Charlotte. So we're very proud of her, even if the opportunity did not come. We are very proud to have a good citizen in our high school, and I'm sure she will go ahead and do great things in her future.
Yeah, a great honor for Charlotte to receive the DAR Good Citizen Award for the class of 2024. We've seen in years past so many students get recognized for their role within the Daughters of the American Revolution through West Bloomfield High School, or DAR, and have these sorts of opportunities in the past. Now Charlotte representing her class very well and with class in 2024. Hopefully we'll hear some more good news in the near future about her victories in these further scholarship opportunities through the Daughters of the American Revolution. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. Plenty more of your stories from your hometown on your community media outlets coming up after the break.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. Take a break and tune in to the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Join Tyler Kieft and Dayan Chaaban as they go through headlines, events, and update you on the day-to-day in Oakland County. Catch us live Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Watch us on demand at civiccentertv.com. Or watch us on TV at Comcast Channel 15 or AT&T at Channel 99. Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Follow us on Twitter at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Watch West Bloomfield Lakers football all season long on 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV. Join Tyler Kieft and Matt Catoni each week for live, in-depth, and exclusive coverage before, during, and after the big game. It's your local high school football team on the road and in your backyard on your home for West Bloomfield Laker football, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home. And now, back to the Splash, live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. Your stories from your hometown on your community media outlets, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. You can also join us online on civiccentertv.com. Find our full show every single day on demand and see all the times that we'll be broadcasting live with your latest news and updates from throughout the community on the Splash Live every single day. Right on our homepage, civiccentertv.com. Joining us now is a local restaurateur, Brad Cousens, who over the past several months has been developing a new restaurant on Orchard Lake Road. We've heard about this. We've seen some pictures of this new restaurant moving in, and turns out that actually is two restaurants in the same location at the old Pepino's location on Orchard Lake Road in Sylvan Lake. Brad, thank you for being with us today.
Tyler, I'm well. How are you? Happy to be here.
I'm doing great and Doing great and glad to talk to you about Live Bait in Goomah. 2 restaurants moving into over 6,000 square feet of space in the old Pepino's location. Let's start from the beginning with this because there's so much that goes into these 2 restaurants. It's a really interesting story how this all came together, but you're in such a large space. You have experience in the past developing restaurants all across the nation and now coming back home. You have, of course, El Camino in Kegel Harbor as well. But what was the inspiration behind these 2 restaurants in that particular location in Sylvan Lake?
Well, I live in Silver Lake, and I grew up in the area, went to St. Mary's and Orchard Lake right down the road. So I've got a soft spot for this location in my heart. And I don't know, I think it's overlooked. We're dead center of Oakland County. 15 minutes from Birmingham, 17 minutes from Clarkston, 20 minutes from Rochester. It's such an ideal location, and I think it's underserviced. And there's so many other wonderful restaurants and business owners in the area that I get along with so well. And I'm convincing everybody that we're all in business together and that we need to raise the tide, which will raise all ships and get people to really come to our area. And Pepino's was so successful, they could have been in business forever. And they just chose to retire. So it wasn't a question of them going out of business. It was a question of them retiring. And it turns out that my landlord at El Camino that I've had for about 5 or 6 years down the street is the same landlord as this location. So he kept after me, trying to get me to put something in there. I went and looked at it and thought, geez, this is too much space for me to handle. I like to do restaurants that are 100 seats or less. And then one day I was having lunch with a buddy of mine, and he was pestering me to do a seafood place, which I've always wanted to do. And another friend of mine was pestering me the night before about doing a pizza joint, and a light bulb just kind of went off. And I thought, geez, I'll go back and take a look at it, see if I can't split that space into 2 and get something going. And then we were kind of off to the races.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting, too, to have these 2 restaurants in that spot. It is a great spot right off of Orchard Lake Road, and especially as the construction across Orchard Lake Road is coming to a close, and this restaurant is now open and open for business in the community, too. It gives such great opportunities for a variety of different food options on Orchard Lake Road all throughout the majority of our local communities, especially in the Tri-City. So let's talk about these 2 restaurants, David. Tell us first about Goomah. We know it's a pizza restaurant in particular, but also features some other Italian favorites as well.
Yeah, it's I had a custom brick tile pizza oven made in California and shipped, about 6,000 pounds. I actually had to take the whole front of the building off to get it in. A good friend of mine, luckily, Rob Davis owns Club Royale, and so he's a big boat guy. And yeah, there it is. And he sent over a friend of his to Skytrack that sucker in. So a lot of our food for Goomah goes through that pizza oven. It's wood and gas assist. So we do New Haven style pizza. One of my chefs, Jesse, spent a lot of time in Chicago, different restaurants there, worked for Stephanie Izzard from Girl and the Goat and Top Chef fame. He wrote our dough recipe. And then we've got my good buddy George from Ellen's across the street. He takes our recipe and he makes our dough every day. And so it's a quality product. And then we do a lot of other Italian standards that are very, very good. My chefs are talented guys. My executive chef, Jason Milross, was the prepared food manager at Westbourne Market for quite a long time. And he's been my head guy at El Camino since day one. So we're excited. We're putting out a good product, and we're happy about it.
And what's great too is you mentioned the story with Ellen's preparing your dough with your recipe every day for your pizzas. Is that partnership that you're developing too within the restaurant community within the local food community on Orchard Lake Road in Sylvan Lake and in the greater West Bloomfield community. So that's a really good added element to this story with Goomah moving in. On the other side, Live Bait is a seafood restaurant. Tell us about some of the favorites that people can get at that restaurant.
Well, I was shocked, Tyler, that in the lakes area that there really wasn't a place that was seafood focused. Again, right in my direct area in Sylvan Lake and Kego Harbor, so many great restaurants and businesses, and they all will have a feature that's dynamite, but there was nobody really focused on that. And I grew up a lot of my childhood on the East Coast during summers and winter breaks and everything, and in Florida with my mother's family. My brother spent quite a bit of time in Boston. Shout out to my little nephew who was Austin from Boston. He was born at Tufts. And so we loved oysters and shellfish and fresh fish and anything you could imagine in that East Coast oyster bar side of the road feel. So that's what I did with Live Bait. We've got oysters on the half shell, obviously, and Oysters Rockefeller. We do seafood towers that are really cool. Fresh fish every day. We'll run specials throughout the year seasonally. It's and again, the rooms are totally different. It's and I've gotten some really cool artifacts that I've sourced all over Metro Detroit. The bar stools at the Live Bait side are the old jury stools from the 36th District Court in Detroit. The giant lights that hang over the bar actually were the spotlights on the Jail Hudson's building. So it's eclectic and it's neat. And again, it's two totally different spaces under one roof. And we're having a lot of fun with it.
We're joined on the show today by Brad Cousens, the owner of Live Bait and Goomah, which you can find right next door to each other on Orchard Lake Road, 2440 Orchard Lake Road in Sylvan Lake. The old Peppino's location is now two different restaurants. You can get your favorite pizza and Italian food, and right next door, some of your favorite seafood features as well at the restaurant. Brad, you mentioned earlier on about the success of the Peppino's site, and you actually had previously worked at Peppino's back when it was a pool hall. So this is kind of a full circle moment for you too in your career, but also as you're building a new experience in that location where so many people had frequented for food and for gathering for so many years. Does that add a little bit extra motivation to you to not only, of course, make this a success, but make it a great experience for this next generation too?
Oh, it adds a whole lot of motivation. It's one of my best friends and I used to cut grass in the area when we were kids at St. Mary's in the summers. And we decided one summer that we hated cutting grass. And he said he knew a guy who was opening up a pool hall there and let's go get jobs. So I fibbed about my age because I think I was 17 at the time and said I was 18. And my buddy Shane and I went over there and we got jobs in this location. I mean, I was 17, now I'm 52. And that's where it started. The guy that owned that pool hall, which the lodge has now moved down the street in Kego Harbor, is Mitch Black, who owns Dick O'Dow's in Birmingham. And oddly, we all live in Sylvan Lake. Mitch Black still lives in Sylvan Lake all these years later. My buddy Shane lives down the road from me in Sylvan Lake. And my brother lives in Sylvan Lake. His family does. My four best friends that I've known since I was 7, 8 years old, we all live about 10 houses away from one another. And so their parents live there. I mean, everybody lives there. So I've got a lot of skin in the game. And, I'm trying to do it for my neighbors and for my friends and for myself, selfishly, to have a place for us to go. And I want to be there for the long haul.
Brad Cousens joins us on today's edition of The Splash Live, the owner of Live Bait and Goomah, also as the owner of El Camino in Keego Harbor, helping to build a restaurant community in the greater West Bloomfield area. And now you are, as you said, a big proponent of the community and being involved in your hometown here in the greater West Bloomfield area. You also, what's interesting, you also serve as an instructor at Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So there's that familiarity kind of across the board in the community also with Brad. And that's what's really interesting about this coming in, these two restaurants coming into our community, is that it's built within the community. It's embracing that history, but also bringing a new sort of restaurant feel into the community that in some ways has been there before, but also it's bringing something interesting also to it. You mentioned some of the features in these restaurants that have historical ties to the local area, to the Detroit area, to local courthouses. How much of a factor did ambiance play and experience play into putting together Live Bait and Goomah, these two restaurants in that location?
Well, ambiance for me is a lot of it. I think that these days that it is a full package. The consumer is as educated as they've ever been. And I think if you don't have food, service, and ambiance, you're missing the mark. So, and I really enjoy the conceptual design, and I hand build all of these places myself. I enjoy sourcing them and going a little bit off the cuff. All of it. I enjoy designing and building anything. You were saying the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, I actually had taken, and that's what I like to do as well, is I like to repurpose things. Spaces that people have forgotten, things that people don't necessarily think are valuable anymore. I own the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu school down the street, and I actually had just moved it with one of my best friends into an abandoned quarter car wash that had been vacant for 10 years. And we repurposed that and rebuilt that and turned it into this beautiful, beautiful jiu-jitsu studio. And again, it's right next door to El Camino. So it's all about creating that community and that's what I'm trying to do. And that's what all the other business owners on that strip are really trying to do. I've known a lot of these people my whole life, certainly at least my entire adult life. And it's exciting to be a part of it. There's some neat stuff happening. And we're going to create something cool in this community.
Brad, before we let you go, what do you hope when people go into Live Bait and Goomah? Of course, they're going to have great food. They're going to experience a beautiful location on Orchard Lake Road in Sylvan Lake, and the experience is going to be fantastic. But on the other side, as you're exiting your restaurant, what do you hope people take away from that experience in your two new restaurants?
Well, when you walk through the main door of Goomah and you're in the vestibule and you walk through the little breaker door, it says on the door, "Make yourself at home." And that's what I want it to be like. I want people to walk out of there filled bellies, filled hearts, filled souls. I want people to feel like they can come in there and they want to come in there. That's where they want to celebrate their birthdays and their events. I had a place in Chicago for almost 20 years, a small neighborhood place. I had a few places in Chicago, but my favorite was one that I had that was a small neighborhood bar. And my proudest achievement there, not only the fact that I was in business for almost 20 years in Chicago in one location, but it was the fact that I had wedding rehearsals and dinners from people that had their first dates in that location. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever, that I and the people that I work with can have that much of an impact, a positive impact on people's lives. I don't even know how to explain it. I just think that is the coolest thing we can do.
Brad, if people want to experience these two new restaurants, Live Bait for seafood, Goomah for pizza, and some Italian favorites, what are your hours? When are you open so they can experience this?
We are open 4 to 10 p.m., 7 days a week, both of them. So
4 to 10 p.m. Okay, 4 to 10 p.m., 7 days a week, 2440 Orchard Lake Road in Sylvan Lake, the old Pepinos and Lodge location in Sylvan Lake. Brad, appreciate you joining us and telling us about this really interesting story and these two great new restaurants that you've moved in to help, again, build this restaurant community and help your hometown as well.
Tyler, thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Glad to have you on. Brad Cousens with us, the owner of Live Bait and Goomah, and you've also seen him around town at El Camino and at Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, a great community guy continuing to help build our local area and doing it from the center of our community, arguably, on Orchard Lake Road. We'll take a break on The Splash Live. On the other side, plenty more of your stories from your hometown on your community media outlets. The Splash Live continues next.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on CivicCenterTV.com. Find when your meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at CivicCenterTV.com and click Schedule at the top of the screen.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Find us on Instagram at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. Your stories from your hometown on your community media outlets, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Dayan Chaaban. As we are into the fall season, it's October, although it's feeling a little bit like summer right now. Soon that fall weather will be rolling right back in, and that means it's the perfect time of the year to enjoy some of your fall favorite activities outdoors, including hay rides. And West Bloomfield Parks wants to get you and your friends and your family together for group hay rides all throughout the season. Time slots are beginning at 5 p.m. and also at 6, 6:30, 7, and 7:30 p.m. beginning in just a little over a week. October 12th is the first day for group hay rides through West Bloomfield Parks. They'll be happening on the 12th, the 13th, the 19th, and the 20th in October. This is a 20-minute tractor-drawn hay ride experience. You'll encounter some few stops along the way for nature knowledge activities and more, and you can also enjoy cider and a seasonal treat at each and every one of these. Up to 30 people maximum can join you on this group hayride, and you can find more information on time slots and booking a private hayride that includes up to 30 people, cider, donuts, and 4 roll-up picnic blankets as well at wbparks.org. And again, those are on October 12th, 13th, 19th, and 20th. So that's going to be next week Thursday, and next week Friday, and then the week after that also on Thursday and Friday the 19th and the 20th. Times at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock, and 7:30 p.m. wbparks.org. And Dayan, West Bloomfield Parks knows how to get people into nature and into fun experiences and offering these hay rides. A great way to enjoy some of the fall foliage in Greater West Bloomfield, enjoy some of our natural park areas, but also have a good time with a lot of your friends and your family.
They will see those beautiful, beautiful fall colors that are switching beautiful, beautiful, fall colors in our beautiful West Bloomfield Parks right here. Also, Tyler, I don't know why hay rides give me like this spooky season vibe. I remember when I was a kid, we used to do the hay rides, wear our costumes, get on the hay rides. I'm sorry, get on the hay rides, and then just travel throughout the neighborhood and knock on everybody's doors and try to take our candy. So it's a great way to start off the fall. We still have beautiful weather. It's still not too cold with the warm blankets. It's going to be very chilly but nice. And they will encounter a lot of nature stuff along the way. I know that there's some informational plates along the way as they go into these parks. A great way to spend some time with the family. And also, Tyler, let's not forget, what's better than donuts? What's better than donuts on the cider mill, right? So I love that. It's going to be definitely fun.
WBparks.org is the place to go for all that information and to register for those hay rides. They're going to be happening beginning next week, Thursday and Friday, and then the week after that on the 19th and the 20th. On Thursday and Friday. The cost of these group hay rides are $130 to $145. You can also call for more information at 248-451-1900. A great location for these too. They'll be happening at Marshbank Park with so much different natural areas and land to explore. And even if you don't take a group hayride, it's a great place to go out in the fall and go for a walk and enjoy the foliage and the nature as well. Across the town in Sylvan Lake on Wednesday night this week, October 4th, game night is returning to the Sylvan Lake Community Center. It's going to happen with euchre, mahjong, and other games open to both residents and friends. It's going to be happening on Wednesday night at the Sylvan Lake Community Center. In the past, they've also had some games outside that may happen for a limited amount of time on Wednesday night this week, as of course we're starting to see those days get darker earlier on. All the more reason those hay rides that Dayan mentioned may be a little bit spookier as you get into the 6 o'clock through the 7:30 starting times for those. But nonetheless, in Sylvan Lake, a great experience in the prettiest little city in Michigan. And if you're a euchre fan, if you want to experience their euchre tournament, the time is now to start signing up. If you haven't already, you can join the Sylvan Lake What's Going On Facebook group to get more details on how you can sign up for their euchre tournament. That will be happening at a future game night on October 25th, also a Wednesday. So you got 3 more weeks after tomorrow night's event at the Sylvan Lake Community Center in order to sign up for their euchre tournament. SylvanLake.org is also a great place to go for more information on events happening at the Sylvan Lake Community Center on Wednesday night. Their game night will begin at 6:30 p.m. 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday this week, and then their next 2 game nights are on the 18th and the 25th this week, both at 6:30 p.m. SylvanLake.org for more information on all of those. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. On the other side, we'll give you some information on other events happening on Wednesday, including some tests of emergency alerts in our local area and how you can get access to even more localized emergency news and information courtesy of Oakland County. Stay with us. The Splash Live continues next.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Ronnie started doing prescription pills at the age of 15, and by 19, he died. If your child is struggling with drug use, try not to be too proud to reach out for help. Don't be worried about what the neighbor will think or your family. Just get your child the help they need. Sometimes it's the hard road to take, but the hard road is nothing compared to living with the fact that your child is no longer with you.
There's hope and help at drugfree.org.
Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Find us on Instagram at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. Your stories from your hometown on your community media outlets, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Often stories that are happening outside of our community have an impact on our community, and that is especially the case when it comes to national, regional, and statewide alerts, all of which are going to be tested on Wednesday of this week at 2:20 p.m. Eastern. A nationwide wireless emergency alerts test will be conducted by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, in partnership with the National Weather Service and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. That's going to be happening tomorrow at 2:20 p.m. So it's right as some of your kids are getting out of school in the afternoon. You may end up hearing these alerts either over your radios as you're in your car, or if you're at home watching your favorite shows, watching The Splash Live on Wednesday afternoon. You may hear this interrupt your program briefly on your cable TV channels and over your rabbit ears channels as well in the community. And you'll also get wireless alerts, those loud tones that automatically fire even when your phone is muted. Those are going to go off at the same time. These are just a test tomorrow afternoon, and in the case of any other emergencies that pop up, that test would then be suspended. So nonetheless, take these very seriously. Every single test is an opportunity to test your readiness as well in the event that there is an emergency. Always read that information and know what's going on. You'll get those sorts of alerts if there are national alerts from the U.S. president or from FEMA or other organizations in the federal bureaucracy. From the statewide emergencies will also be announced on there. Imminent threats such as tornadoes or other major weather activities come through those alerts, as well as Amber Alerts that alert us to missing or abducted children in our local area. All the more reason to be prepared for those tests and treat them like they're real life events that are happening, and you need to take emergency action. Another great way to keep up to date on emergency news and information in our local area, as we recognize National Preparedness Month, is to sign up for Oak Alert. That is a local Oakland County alert system that you can sign up for on oakgov.com. It helps you receive emergency information for critical incidents right here in Oakland County. Free notifications share official information on threats, disasters, evacuation notices, and other emergencies. And you can sign up for those on oakgov.com. More information can be found there as well, oakgov.com, and you can sign up for Oak Alert for very localized information. Another good resource is Nixle, Nixle. That you can sign up for in our local community. Though that will help you receive localized alerts based on your zip code. And again, it's a free service, although standard text messaging and data rates do apply to that. Diane, all the more reason for people to take into account their emergency preparedness as we get ready for these tests. And of course, we have these resources available too for emergency information on a day-to-day basis.
That is true, Tyler. We cannot always follow up with the news. We cannot always stay on our phones and check out all these news updates. So this is a great way to keep ourselves in the loop on what's going on in our community or what's going on in our nearby areas. Also, we must say that winter season's coming, and we do know that weather in Michigan is kind of hard. So it is always a good idea to keep ourselves updated for all kinds of alerts. As you said, Tyler, and you mentioned earlier, these whether it's Oak Alert, specifically Oak Alert, it does give us alerts on weather, chemical spills, environmental adversities that we can avoid to keep ourselves and our families safe. So it is a great way to keep ourselves in the loop on what's going on in our community, in our environment, and to keep ourselves and our families safe. So
yeah, again, that National Wireless Alerts Test is going to happen Wednesday afternoon, 2:20 p.m. From the Federal Emergency Management Agency in partnership with federal, state, and local agencies as well. Take your mind off of that. We talked earlier on in the program about some activities you can enjoy out in nature. That includes a nature walk at the Orchard Lake Nature Sanctuary with the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society's naturalist Carol Fink. Mark your calendar, Sunday, October 22nd from 2 until 3 p.m. at the Orchard Lake Nature Sanctuary. It is a free nature walk, although donations are encouraged by the Historical Society in order to help them continue to underwrite their programming on a day-to-day basis, including these nature walks. It's going to happen at the Orchard Lake Nature Sanctuary on Pontiac Trail in Orchard Lake Village. More information on Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society programs can be found on gwbhs.org. gwbhs.org. Plenty more of your stories from your hometown on your community media outlets coming up all throughout the week. We invite you to stay with us on Civic Center TV on 89.3 Lakes FM and on our website as well at Civic Center TV. The Splash Live will continue very soon.